Broadcasting live from the center of the universe. It's Business School Without the BS. Featuring optometrist turned entrepreneur, Dr. Robert Zellner, with USSBA Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark.
It is the Thrive Time Show. Let your boom begin. Where we drop knowledge bombs for you in Portland. Teaching and proving systems to make your ends. So you can produce the greenery like all the Oregon. Suit will call you Franklin because you got Benjamins. We'll call you Ben Pearl because you just bought a Benz. And then you'll be bragging to your wife and kin that your wallet's overweight, but it used to be thin. Thumbs away, this is Clay, broadcaster with the Zen, with the focus locked in like San Quentin. Can I get a B to the O to the M? You've heard the rumors, he is I and I is him. He be the Z and I be the C. Now it's teaching business skills from Clay to Z. We both grew up poor, but we're poor no more. The goal of the show is to help you soar. All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to another exciting edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio. And on today's show, what we're doing is we're breaking down the IKEA story. We're breaking the story of the furniture store that everybody knows called IKEA. A lot of people know of the store IKEA, but they don't know they don't know where it started. They don't know the origins of the company. And so today's show is titled The IKEA Story, where the customer provides the service. And so I really went deep into my research for this one. The guy who started the company, his name is Ingvar Kamprad. It's Ingvar. And I've got a little pronunciation on the show notes, so all the listeners, you can click it there, and it'll play his name. But it's Ingvar Kamprad. And this guy was born in 1926, and he lived until 2018. He died at the age of 91. Ingvar, before he died, Forbes went kind of wild with his net worth estimate. Forbes thought that he may be worth as much as $28 billion.
That's a lot.
Or as little as $100 million.
That's still a lot.
And the reason why they couldn't tell his true net worth is because he put basically all of his money back into IKEA, which was owned by a trust. So technically it's not his net worth. And so the store, before his passing, he grew it to a level where it had 398 stores. And it was a very iconic place. Chuck, have you been to an IKEA before?
I have been to IKEA multiple times.
What is your opinion of the IKEA store experience?
If you are someone who enjoys accessorizing, decorating, putting things together for a house or a home, then you are absolutely going to love this place because there is everything under the sun that you would want to put in your house in one of these places. Now, let's say you're a typical man-bear-pig like myself, and you maybe don't enjoy the finer aspects of life.
I hate that place.
It is. They've specifically designed it. If you've never been to it, it's literally a maze that you have to walk through, and they literally guide you through the entire store, and you're going in one direction. It's not like a Walmart where there's big doors at the front, and you just walk in. It's like, nope, arrows on the floor. You cannot get out unless you walk for 3.5 hours through this entire maze of a store.
This labyrinth.
But the cool thing is, they sell some pretty delicious meatballs right at the front of the store.
Well, I'll get into the meatball aspect of this show. In 1926, Ingvar was born on March 30th of 1926. He grew up in the province, in southern Sweden, in a province there. And he grew up as a dyslexic young man who preferred to spend time with animals and who really did struggle in school. He grew up very, very poor, and he made his money selling matches and pencils to kids in the village.
Is this 1926 or 1726? That's something else right there.
Well, this is 1943, and I want to give people some history on this, okay? So 1943, what was happening there? Well, World War II was happening.
Right.
And so if you look at the timeline of events there, his childhood, he spent a lot of time during his childhood growing up during the time of World War II, all right? So a lot of people were struggling with getting basic supplies like pencils and matches, and so he made his money basically selling those essentials to people that needed it. 1943, age 17. As Ingvar began to improve his selling skills by selling matches to neighbor kids from his bicycle and to the neighbors, he began to expand his business by selling fish
He then moved on to selling decorations for Christmas trees, pencils, pens, and other supplies. He sold seeds for planting things. And then he starts a mail order company, and he's able to get products to the trains by hauling them in a local milk van. So he kind of sneaks his products and gets them to the train and ships it that way. So here he is, age 17. He's growing up in this small province, and he decides, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, just keep peddling goods. Now, I don't think a lot of people realize how long it took him, but it took him almost 7 years of peddling goods before he had the idea to start selling furniture. So, Chuck, that's 7 years.
Right. That's so common. And one thing that I'm already noticing about this gentleman is that, hey, I've got to get these products to the train. What am I going to do? I'll use the milk van. So he's being resourceful and not trying to figure out how to get more resources at this beginning stage, right?
Now, I think a lot of folks, I feel like when you start a business, I think what happens is we have that initial excitement to start the business.
Woohoo!
And we want to get wealthy really quickly as a result of starting the business. I think a lot of people do that.
Right.
But I think a lot of people don't realize how long it takes to really build a successful, iconic brand. So I think about my company, DJConnection.com, and it still exists today. But when I started DJConnection.com, there was no DJConnection.com. There was no DJ Connection business, and I started out of my dorm room in 1999. I did not receive the United States Small Business Administration Entrepreneur of the Year award until 2007. So how many years is that? I mean, how many years is 1999 to 2007? That'd be 8 years.
Yep.
And you see, 8 years in, I flipped the script and I realized, I'm really, really good at growing businesses. And I think I could take my skill sets that I've developed to grow the DJ business and put those into different industries and be more profitable, create more time freedom, more financial freedom. And so Ingvar, it's the same thing. For 7 years, he's grinding. And then he decides, you know what, I'm going to start a mail order company selling furniture, which is being produced in the forest nearby, near my home. And I'm going to make it available in the catalog. So his first line of furniture was very popular. So he decided he wanted to sell basically everything else. He basically decided, I'm going to stop selling everything else and just focus on furniture, because the furniture is done so well. He began the process of becoming a furniture company. Now, 1952, he's 26 now. Ingvar decides to open his first IKEA showroom in a town nearby. And again, I don't want to mispronounce the name, but it's called Almhult. It's Almhult, Almhult, which is now home to the IKEA Museum. Now, again, he's now 1953. He's 27. So again, now that this is 10 full years, he's been doing this for 10 full years. And Chuck, he begins to discover this thing called advertising. Now,
that's a game changer.
Now, this is the thing about advertising. He realized at this point in his life that in order to go to the next level, he had to stop making personal sales calls, and he needed to begin advertising in the local newspaper. And so, because he can scale, get in front of more ideal and likely buyers.
He's going to cast a bigger net, right?
Right. And so when I think about advertising, there's no shame in the game. You shouldn't feel bad. A lot of people will say, I don't want to advertise. I grow primarily via word of mouth. And that's true. If you're a healthy company, people should refer you to friends and family, and that should happen kind of organically. But there's one company that reached out to us, and kind of a fun story. But at the Thrive Time show, we have our 2-day interactive workshops. Our next one is coming up here on April 13th and 14th.
That's right.
At the Thrive Time Show World Headquarters in Jinx, Oklahoma, at our Thrive Time Show offices there.
That's this weekend.
And so it'll be coming up there on the 13th and 14th. And when we have these events, we have a lot of people that come to these events from all over the world. People from Austin, Texas, and from Miami, Florida, and from Canada. And when they come to the conference, a lot of times it's like a high traffic. And so the place can get messy, it can get dirty, it can get kind of grimy. And so we needed to reach out to a janitorial service that could really deliver. And they could just really do a good job. And so we reached out to a company called Classic Janitorial Services. And one of the things that I thought was appealing to me was we asked the question, well, you don't want to bring in a janitorial service that's going to do a second-class job, or one that could potentially, steal things or not do the job right. And so I wanted to go with a brand that we could trust and a company that had worked with some of the bigger companies. Because I figure if they're good enough for some of the bigger companies, they're probably good enough for me. And so we'd reached out to Classic Janitorial Service, and these guys are the actual janitorial service of choice for Google, for Newstar, for DuPont. And Chup, they have done a phenomenal job. And now our bathrooms are so clean that I have found myself wanting to use the urinal as a water fountain. And you told me, no, that's not the way to go.
I found myself in the same situation, Clay. It's so white and the water's flowing so nicely.
It's like a waterfall.
You're just so thirsty.
You go.
You've recently evacuated some of the water from your body.
And so I kind of looked down over the urinal, and I looked down and I realized, is that a mint in there? Is that a urine? Is that a mint?
Look on your pillow.
And so I thought maybe I should just go in there. But I realized, no. This is a urinal
cake,
and that's a scent thing.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, our good friends at Onyx, our good friends at Classic Janitorial, these guys have just done a phenomenal job for us. And their phone number, Chubb, if someone out there, if one of our listeners wants to call them, and by the way, I would encourage all of our listeners to call them. What's the phone number that they can reach the Classic Janitorial guys at?
Okay, so you can reach Classic Janitorial Services at 918-671-2046. Call and get a hold of these guys. For new customers, they're actually they're going to be giving you guys free floor care for your high traffic areas.
Yes.
So if you've got some tile that needs to be buffed and get those footprints off of it, or a carpet that needs a deep clean, a deep shampoo, most of these other janitorial services upcharge for that in your high traffic areas, but you can check them out. The Classic Clean, they're going to include that with your service. And 918-671-2046, or get online and check them out at theclassicclean.com. Theclassicclean.com.
You know what I'd recommend for all the listeners out there that are maybe skeptical of giving them a call? I would also recommend you come to our next in-person Thrive Time Show workshop here on the 13th and 14th. And when you come out to the conference, you can see how clean the building is yourself. They do a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And I would highly recommend you visit theclassicclean.com. So back to the IKEA story. So it's 1952, age 26. This is 9 years after he gets the idea to start IKEA furniture, after he starts in business selling things. He's selling so much furniture now, he opens his first showroom. Age 27, though, this is what happens. At this point in his life, he realized that to go to the next level, he needed to stop making those sales calls and begin advertising his business in the local newspaper. Obsessed with the belief that everyday people should be able to afford quality insurance, he begins to sell furniture that requires assembly. The idea of selling furniture that is not yet assembled was crazy to most outsiders at the time, and including me. But turns out people like to make their own furniture. Chuck, there's a lot of people that would prefer to save the money and to make the furniture themselves. I don't understand this because I'm somebody who really values my time more than money. But turns out a lot of people loved the IKEA concept. When we come back, we're going to talk to it. We're going to break it down how the IKEA experience was made and how he created a word of mouth monster, but how he never stopped advertising. How did IKEA become one of the world's most valuable companies? We'll tell you the rest of the story when we come back from the break. You're listening to the Thrive Time Show on your radio.
I remember my days back in the dorm room, tuned to the gloom like the temple of doom, overwhelmed with the doubts that try to consume my hope for the future that I could pursue. But from the mountaintop now I can conclude that you have what it takes if you want the view to.
Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show on Talk Radio 1170. Broadcasting live from the center of the universe. It's Business School Without the BS. Featuring optometrist turned entrepreneur, Dr. Robert Zellner, with USSBA Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the Thrive Time Show on your radio or podcast download. And what we're talking about today is the life and times of Ingvar. Who's Ingvar?
Ingvar
Kamprad. He is the guy who started IKEA. Now, the story began in 1943 at the age of 17. He's a dyslexic kid, didn't do very well in school, but he really knew that the people in his community needed matches and pencils during the time of World War II, and so he found a way to buy them low and sell them higher. That's what he did. And over time, he thought, you know what? The people know me. They kind of know me as the street vendor guy. So I'm going to start selling Christmas trees. Then he says, you know what? I'm going to start selling office supplies. I'm going to start selling seeds. And so he begins to develop this skill of selling things, a very resourceful guy. And so at the age of 24, he kind of has this concept of, gosh, people like to buy everything from me already. I'll do a mail order where people can order the things they want through the mail. This is previous to Amazon. Obviously, there was mail order. That was the big thing. And so he goes into the forest, which is near where he lived, and he says, gosh, I'm noticing that these guys in the forest, he lives in Sweden, by the way. He says, they're building all this great furniture, but they don't know how to sell it. So I'm going to go to those guys and say, guys, if you will put the furniture in my mail order catalog, we could sell it that way. Well, it does really well. And so he decides, and again, this is something that most entrepreneurs can't do. I don't understand this. This is the first big teaching moment I want to give all the listeners out there. I don't know why you would stay in a niche if it's not profitable.
Right.
Like I don't know why you would be loyal to a certain product if it's not profitable. I don't get the idea that, because you've always been a plumber, you should just stay as a plumber. I don't understand.
Unless you're trying to revolutionize the non-profit plumbing industry.
Right.
Why would you do that?
I see a lot of people that are very, very unprofitable in an industry, but they just stay in it. And they say, well, that's what I went to school for. I think that our careers should be much more dynamic than that. And he realizes, look, people, I'm not making a whole bunch of money selling these other things, but this furniture did well and the profits were good, so I'm going to go ahead and just go all in on furniture. So he begins just selling furniture. And so at age 26, this is 9 years into his venture, he decides that he's going to open up a showroom. So he opens up a showroom in his community. And age 27, it occurs to him, you know what? Gosh, I gotta stop making sales calls and just stopping by people's businesses. I got to stop networking. I got to start advertising. And really, that's the sign of maturity for a business owner. That's when you know your business will scale. It's when you decide it's time to advertise. Whenever you get to a place where you say, you know what, I believe I've nailed it. Now it's time to scale it. And so, but this is the concept that he had, which I thought was insane. I still think is insane, but people love it, Chuck. His idea was this: I'm going to sell you furniture super, super cheap, but you have to build it yourself.
Right.
Would that lose you as a customer, the idea you have to build the furniture yourself?
I have IKEA furniture that I've built myself at my current home.
Do you hate it?
No. Not too
like
bad.
it?
It's actually pretty easy to put together. They've done a really, really good job with their instructions. There's little outlines of people showing you what way to put things. I can totally see why you would not want to do that. But I do know, I've got friends that live, in tiny little apartments in New York City, and you can actually get a good sized table up into your apartment without having to, navigate the halls and the stairs because it's in boxes and you can put it together in your apartment.
I think at IKEA, customer service means that the customer must provide themselves with the service.
Pretty much.
Ingvar grew the company to become the world's largest retailer of furniture by staying focused on his niche and providing the most inexpensive furniture possible. IKEA became famous as the furniture of choice for college dormitories, first apartments, and starter homes all over the world. In the world of retail, he broke all the rules by selling customers furniture that they would have to assemble themselves. And most of the instructions did not have words. So a lot of people around the world early on couldn't understand how to put them together. And it became kind of a joke of dude, how long has it taken you to assemble that table? It became kind of I don't know if you've ever met people who really love IKEA, but a lot of times they'll share horror stories about the hardest thing they ever bought to put together. But the idea is, over time, he got more and more efficient at it. He got better and better at explaining how to do it. And IKEA now is a massive company. It's a massive company. And what he did is he decided to create an experience that was 100% sold out on one idea, Chuck. And that idea was to have the most affordable furniture on the planet. That was the idea.
I think he did it, too. I mean, it's pretty good prices.
And before he passed away, he had nearly 400 inconvenient locations to serve you. And do you know why he had 400 locations that weren't located in main retail areas?
Does it have anything to do with where the ports were located?
Because it's cheaper.
Okay.
Everything he's going to do is because it's cheaper. Ingvar was one of the first retailers to really focus on flat packing the furniture as a tremendous cost saving. He was one of the first retailers on the planet to purposefully locate his stores near transportation hubs, major ports, and away from the shopping districts and these warehouse districts so they can make the prices even lower. I mean, think about that for a second. I mean, he made it where it's like, Mathis Brothers in Tulsa is conveniently located by 169, the major thoroughfare, 71st and 169 in Tulsa, basically by the mall.
Major shopping hub.
Right. IKEA's, though, they're located like in a spot where nobody else is. And so what he thought was he wanted to make the average furniture shopping experience 3 hours long.
And he did it.
3 hours long. I want to make sure you get this. When you go into, and you touched on it earlier there, Chep, when you go into an IKEA, if you haven't been to one before, you have to follow the maze. You have to follow the path. So you walk in, there's arrows that are on the floor that points you, this is where you're going. You can't go where you want to go because there's actually it's like a track or like a,
right.
it's like a racetrack. You have to go a certain path. And as you go along the path, then you're like, well, I probably don't need that lamp, but let's get two. Well, we're already here.
Last time I was there, I actually went through the exit on purpose to go backwards just to kind of see what was going on. And people were looking at me like I was crazy. Like, he's walking at us. What is happening right now?
Right.
So they definitely have extended that shopping experience by the layout of their store.
And he is from Sweden, and so he decided to bring Swedish meatballs into the stores. I don't know if Andrew, our videographer, has ever been to an IKEA, but if you haven't been there, I mean, IKEA is you got to go there one time just to experience this. But he said the reason why he put the Swedish meatballs in the stores is because he realized, hey, if we can get people to convince them to be there for hours, they will buy more. And so the whole experience is designed to take forever. You go in, and I'm just telling you, it is definitely a 3-hour event.
3-hour tour.
It really is. Now, if you're looking for, getting some things done quickly, you don't want ordering your office supplies to take 3 hours. If you want your office supplies, if you want to take like 2 minutes to get your office supplies, Chup, one of our great advertisers is Onyx Imaging.
Yes.
It's onyximaging.com. Check them out at onyximaging.com. And they are your one-stop shop for, let me read off the stuff they do. Printer cartridges.
Manufactured here in Tulsa.
Office supplies.
Office supplies, same and next day delivery.
So you're a busy business owner. You don't have time to go to Office Depot or have time to go out there looking for office supplies. No, you don't. But
they
you do
price
have time.
match on those office supplies.
Price match?
Yeah.
They're going to get you the best rate on the office supplies that you need because you don't have time. But what you do have time is you do have time to go to onyximaging.com during the break. That's onyximaging.com during the break. When we come back, more of the IKEA story. Stay tuned.